In a lengthy debate Monday as Amazon and Madison County compare notes on the company's tax assessment.
The two sides are millions of dollars apart on what its data centers are worth, and that gap could determine how much money flows back into your schools and local government. 3 on Your Side's Holly Emery breaks down the discussion.
It's a multi-million-dollar question for Madison County. What are Amazon's 5 data center buildings at the Canton mega site actually worth? The county's tax assessor says nearly $292 million per building.
I feel that our assessment reflects the true value of the completed real property improvements necessary to support these operations. They're highly specialized data centers.
But Amazon's own appraisal puts that number at just under $70 million per building.
This is an opinion of value that was derived by a industry standard, Marshall Swift valuation service. We would request the board adjust the assessed value for a collective of $349.9 million for the 5 buildings.
That's a gap of more than $220 million per building, over $1 billion in taxes in total for all 5. So why does the gap matter to you? That tax money helps pay down a $215 million state loan and funds local schools and county government. The higher these buildings are valued, the more money flowing into your community each year. Supervisors learned during the meeting that Amazon had not shared its actual construction costs with the tax assessor's office, something the county says it requested and state law gives it authority to obtain.
I don't think this discrepancy number from 69 million to 292 million would be that far apart. I think it would come very close for whatever that number may be, being accurate. Would you not agree with that?
It would certainly come down by a significant amount, yes.
Amazon's representative says the company withholds actual project costs as a matter of internal policy.
There's no better way to determine replacement cost than the actual cost to replace that facility, which they have.
Kennedy says he'll keep pushing for Amazon's records. The company says it'll need to consult its attorneys first. In Madison County, Holly Emery, 3 on Your Side.